Welcome to the optimization panel at JCON. Thank you everyone for coming. We have, just do a quick intro. Hi. We have Mordechai Hoffman. Mordechai runs a large Amazon account and some others that we're not going to talk about right now. Omer, sorry. From Your Tasker. Omer deals with many accounts. Certainly, I find that anyone that you just see at yearly events, it's kind of like dog years. You know, if I see you 3 years, it's like you're in the business forever. So, lots of insights to add. Ray Berman, what can I say? Ray manages some really large accounts, knows his stuff, very helpful guy, lots of information there. Yahuda Solomon, same like Ray. Lots of information, very helpful, sees the changes almost before they happen, and we're going to jump right into it. Thank you, everyone. So, I think I'm just going to start with you, Mordechai.
Go for it.
I think what is really important as sellers is to try to always recalculate where you are as a seller within the ecosystem and the hurricane that is Amazon. So we want to look back and say, you're a successful guy, you're doing really well on Amazon. What has really worked in 2019? And what do you think is changing? What are you personally doubling down on in 2020, this year?
So the first thing of any Amazon listing is the listing itself. That's the foundation of a listing. And yeah, we got it. And the most important thing is obviously the content on there. It starts with the images. Most people think that when you're actually browsing through the listings, you want to make sure that your picture pops out before any competitor's image. It might sound like a basic, but it's crucial to your listing to have the main image obviously as sharp and clean as possible and something eye-catching. And then the rest of the images and the rest of the content should have those lifestyle infographics and not just another angle of the product on there. Another thing that we're adding on is...
Wait. So when people are always asking about hacks and ways to grow and shortcuts, you're saying that most of it actually comes down to the listing.
It always starts with the basics. The hacks you can try afterwards, but if you don't have the foundation, your hacks are not going to work.
Go ahead.
So after that, once you have the basic foundation, I believe Yahuda Solomon had actually a very interesting insight about EBC. Amazon says that it increases sales about 5 to 7%, 5 to 10%. It gives you that bit of an increase. He did an A/B testing, and I don't know, Yehuda, what was the exact result of that A/B testing?
Yeah, so we did an A/B testing on a quite popular product, and we had, A was a full-blown EBC page with lifestyle images and everything, and B was a super only text. We used the EBC, but we just did the text broken down, organized, and we had the comparison chart beneath that. And we found that the B, without all this fluff, did actually better, slightly better than A with all the lifestyle images. Now, that doesn't mean that's always the case for each and every category. Each and every category is different. But what is important is that when you start a new product and you expand your category, you should do your own A and B testing through Amazon. Amazon released this feature a couple months ago, so where you can get actual data from Amazon, you don't have to rely on other people, so you can see actually data, what is working for me and what is not working for me.
And what program is that, the A/B testing?
No, Amazon by themselves. If you go on the A+ content page, they give you a new option of creating 2 versions of the same product, and you can see which one works better. So it's on Amazon, from Amazon.
On which page?
A+ content page, just on top you'll see new.
So this is something that a lot of people were using all kinds of different programs for, and now Amazon itself is offering it. It's fantastic.
Seller. I don't know.
No, I believe it's on the seller.
Omer,
I'm not sure about vendor. Ray,
Sure. So there are a couple of things of course, everything lies back to your listing. So in listing, the biggest differences which I have seen for my clients in 2019 is use of the back end, whether it's a search term space, or subject matter audience. That's where we have tested, and we have seen difference when it comes to indexing keywords. Other things which we have seen differently, which are working, is basically the product display ads. And that's where we have tested that, and it's working, and I think that's the future, especially for brands. One of the other thing which has worked, and I think people should focus on, is, let's say if they have packaging of their product, that needs to be displayed rightly on their images. Like whatever the dimensions, it should be rightly displayed. Because people, when it comes to conversion, people make decision based on the images which are out there. If I go on Amazon as a user, I would just, check the description, the title, but I will look at the pictures. That will basically make me make my decision.
That's great. I'm going to, if I can, Joel, I have two primary focuses that I would say are the most important for going into 2020. Number one, and this, I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, 11 years, and the biggest challenge that has always been has been profitability for sellers. There's a lot of costs. There's FBA fees that are constantly changing. And specifically now that the advertising has become a necessity in launching and sustaining product growth and sales, keeping track of your profits has never been more important. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of sellers who are working off of cash flow. It gives you a high, selling, $30, $40, $50,000 a month on a product. It's exciting, it's great. If you're not making money, shut down your business and go home. You're not here to watch cash flow or to talk about your cash flow. So that's something that, as the costs are rising, the cost for advertising is increasing. Keep a really, really close eye on your products. Resize your products. Get them underneath the size tiers that Amazon has for FBA fulfillment costs, to bring them down. There's always room to bring down your costs in those areas. And then obviously bringing down costs from your suppliers and bringing down your fixed costs, to bring in the product. And if I could just say, the second point is that it seems like Amazon they started launching Voice of the Customer within Seller Central. Amazon has always been about the end user, about the customer. A lot of times us sellers, we get focused on the sale. We get focused on, all right, how many sales did I do this month, and how can I make more sales? And that's super important. Obviously, that's what keeps us in business. However, for the longevity of your account and for the longevity of your listing, pay very, very close attention to the voice of the customer, what customers are saying, and responding in kind to the feedback.
Excellent. Yahuda.
What's the question again? Sorry.
All right, Yahuda. So you're on very much in touch with, like everyone else here, with what's going on Amazon. You feed me a lot of tips. I don't know how you get that. As soon as it comes out, you got it. So in 2019, what worked for you, and what do you feel is going to work even further this year?
So my answer is a combination of Ray's and the other people's answers. The answer number one is every decision and everything that you do needs to be backed by data. Meaning, you think your product is good, you think the listing is good, it's still only your opinion. Make sure that whatever you do is based on data. For example, you're going to go ahead and advertise your product page. Is your product page ready to be advertised? Amazon has a great report called unit session percentage that most people don't know about it or don't utilize on a regular basis. That tells you how many people, after seeing your product page, if they bought it or not. It's basically Amazon's customers voting with their wallets if they like your product or not. If you have a low unit session percentage, that means that people don't like your product. It's like Nezem Zuv Bafchaz, if you know what it means. Like you can go advertise your product, but no one wants to buy it. It's going to be expensive, and you're not going to be profitable.
So what's a good user percentage, user session percentage?
Each category is different. So if you're in the lifestyle category, you're going to expect to have a lower unit session percentage. But if you're in a category that is more of a commodity item or straightforward item, you should see a 15, 20, 30% unit session percentage. If not, there's a problem with your listing, and you should fix that before throwing money, because your PPC is going to be cheaper, and everything is going to be cheaper because people are going to convert better, and your cost is going to get better. To sum it up, any decision, everything should be based on data. And there's a lot of data, a lot of points where you can get data, but everything needs to be based on data.
So if you're ranking well, would your user session percentage would be high already, right?
Yes, but
if you're ranking,
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you don't have money on the table. For example, as Ray said, you could spend a lot of money on your PPC. Yeah, you have a lot of sales, you're excited, but your profit is not there. Versus if you fix the couple tweaks on your page, and there's a lot of ways how to figure that out, then your PPC is going to go down, you're going to make much more profit. Sales is the last thing. It's very important, very exciting, but as Ray said, it's, yeah, profit.
and I remember you said something about you looking at 20 accounts, or was it someone with you?
Yeah, so I have a friend of mine who worked for a bookkeeping company, and he looked over 19 Amazon accounts, and out of that 19, only one was profitable. So, very important profit.
I always tell clients, I review accounts every single day, and I don't see the whole big picture, but I see the ad spend. And that usually is a very good indication. If you're spending 15% or 20% on ads, there's not much left over. And it's fine. If you've got a rich uncle that's investing in your business and it's unlimited, that's fantastic. But whenever it's fine to spend sometimes, right? It's okay to not to make a profit, but for how long? For a month, 2 months? Like, what is the objective? So people really, really have to know that, and especially now when it's so saturated, everyone's got the same items. You need to set yourself apart. And I've seen, I mean, let's talk about that, pricing, right? Because I've seen products that they raised the price by $5 and they've done better.
Yeah.
What's your experience on it? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, like a lot of people think I'm going to make a sale, I'm going to go to $14.95. That's where like most of the people think that's where they need to stay, and it's actually a big mistake because FBA fees is a fixed fee. So if you pay $3 for FBA, it's like 30% out of your sales just goes for fixed fees, and every other percentage. Increase pricing. Again, if you have the good product page and people like your product, your unit session percentage goes up. There's no reason why you need to live in that $14.95 world. Like, I would say if anyone like just start going after products that cost you $25 or $20 to bring in and start selling $60, $70 items. $14.95 items, there's no room for profit.
And usually the PPC, which is one of the biggest costs these days, will be pretty similar. The clicks will be pretty similar, which is why on high ticket items you'll see a 5% ACoS, because it's a similar click count. It's 5 to 10 clicks that are converting, and it's a couple of dollars on $100 or on $200. It creates a very low ACoS. In that, when you raise the price and you set yourself apart, Mordechai, pictures, can you take a $20 item and make it $30 by just updating the listing and pictures?
Absolutely. If you created a brand on Amazon and it doesn't look like just another dollar item on the page, be it via your images, your EBC, if you add a video automatically gives you brand legitimacy. It gives you something much more than these other brands that you're competing against. You start raising your price dollar by dollar. We've seen a product where we started at $8.95. We're currently sitting at $16.95. And there's some competitors' listings that have the same product, very similar product to it, and they have 1,000 product reviews. We have currently 41 reviews, and we're probably outselling them at this point, and while we're increasing our price. The point is that our product listing is heads and tails above their product listing, and automatically that's what draws the customer in.
And if you do raise your price, it's not going to work in every situation, but make sure that you do it slowly.
Right.
You do it too fast, you lose your buy box, you run into problems. Depending on how big of an increase you're doing, Sometimes I would even increase the price by 50 cents a week and play that out over a couple weeks or months to get to the target price you need to be at. So just be careful you don't raise your price too quickly.
Yeah. My point was more when you start sourcing, look for products that you're going to source, that you're going to sell at 20, 30, but also increase pricing if you can, but also source products that you're not going to have to sell for $14.95.
If we talk about sourcing, can I just ask you guys, because this is something I deal with every single day, where I have clients that tell me, well, what are we doing with this item? And I'm like, I don't know, it's dead. There's nothing you can do with it. Oh, I have 3,000 units in my warehouse. And I always say, fine, because I've done this before. I did sourcing for myself, and I went to 100 factories until I found one that'll do 50 units. I said, yeah, 50, give me 50 pieces. What are your thoughts on MOQ when sourcing?
Yeah, so people always work and try to negotiate on pricing when they start with a new manufacturer. In China, it's true everywhere, but definitely in China, is you get what you pay. If you paid until now $14, you went to him, I said, I only want to pay $13. He said, okay, I'm going to give it for $13. You're going to get a $13 item, not a $14 item. You start a new product, negotiate on the MOQ. Instead of the pricing, yeah, you're going to spend, instead of spending 14, you're going to spend 15. But instead of buying 1,000, that's $14,000, try 100 units. You're going to spend even $20 per item. You're not going to make money. You're going to lose money. But your initial investment is going to be much easier. Negotiate on MOQ, not on pricing.
Yeah, and I like to say on that is bring over those, just like Yahuda is saying, bring over those small quantities and have multiple phases in your product life cycle. So know where your starting point is in what you can afford to spend now with a low MOQ, but anticipate if I can move 1,000 units a month, 3,000 units a month over time, what your pricing will be at your second or third phase as you start to sell out your product. So you may not be profitable today, but you have a game plan set up so that way you will be profitable when you start to move the quantities that you anticipate. Now, if you don't move those quantities, you're lucky you didn't take in that big shipment.
Exactly.
Anyone else on that?
I think based on what is happening past 2-3 years, what Amazon is focusing on is right now, I think more focus is on product quality. I think the optimization part of your listing, your whole business start with your quality of the product which you are bringing. So I think more focus need to be there rather than bringing those products and then starting running PPC, which is not obviously working. So probably you guys have seen that, but a lot of people now, for a lot of categories, Amazon is asking for quality certificates, so their intention is to make sure that this is a quality product, okay? And one of the reasons of Amazon is providing so many tools to, another way to look at is that Amazon is providing so many tools to brand owners. Like you will see a lot of like brand analytics, the way people are using for keyword research. So Amazon is providing a lot of privileges to brand owners. So Amazon wants to make sure that you have quality products and you are brand registered. So I always consider brand registry and quality of the product part of your optimization.
Will brand registry and, let's say, adding videos and EBC, will it automatically rank your product better just by virtue of you having that on your product? Anyone knows the answer to that? I mean, I do, but I'm asking you guys.
Right.
No.
My answer is also no.
And and I think this is a great segue into, and I think Joel can speak really well on this, and that is the power and the importance of sponsored products today. Amazon's doubling, tripling down on sponsored products. They're rolling out new features every other week, different placement options. They're allowing you to spend a lot of money. They're really good at it. And it's something that sellers try. It's what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing that sponsored product spend has become one of the biggest, let's just call it holes in the pocket for sellers, or where all the profitability is going. And it is super, super important. Unless you're really good at managing your sponsored products yourself, outsource it. Don't keep it in-house. You need a data scientist to really monitor and optimize your campaigns in a way that you're going to stay profitable.
Yeah.
So let's talk about sponsored products, I guess. What would you say is the number one key factor in before we even talk about success of sponsored products? What's the number one thing you should focus on? Is it the ACoS? Is it the ad sales? Is it how do you measure that? What's the best thing to look at?
So I think it's basically mentality. What is your mentality when you're setting up your campaigns? I always says that mentality should not be, ACoS and profitability. It's basically analysis. If you set up your campaigns that you could go back and analyze those and make decisions, okay? Because campaigns are whatever way you set up. If you don't optimize, if you don't know what is your data displaying, you can make decisions. So the basic intent, basic stuff behind setting up any campaigns should be that you should go back and should be able to analyze. Like people set up campaigns where they have many products in just one campaigns. When they have to go back and analyze those, it's very hard.
So you're saying keep it organized so that you can actually go and review the data?
Yes.
So what's next? So you're organizing it, it's clear, you can research the data. Is it the ACoS? Is it the tacos, the true ACoS? Anyone wants to chime in on that?
Yeah, I would say each and every product has stages in the launch stages. So whatever stage you are, you should have a clear idea what your target is. And each and every time of the product has a different target. So let's say, for example, you're in the launch strategy. And you decide, again, I'm going back to the unit session percentage, you know what your converting rate is. So let's say your converting rate is 10% and your profit is, let's say, $10. And you're in the stage of launching, you're ready to go aggressive, you're ready to give away 75% of your profit. That means you know that based on your unit session percentage rate, that means you could give away 75 cents per click based on the numbers. Too complicated. But after you have that data, after you have your goal, your structure, what you're looking to do, and as he said, build a very organized naming almost, like, because you're going to have to download the search term reports. And I've seen a lot of people, they write just broad, exact, and phrase. Now you're going to download that. You're going to see your campaign is broad. How are you going to know from where, which broad? So make sure your name, when you do your naming, add your product name with the phrase broad so you can go ahead and then read it. And then I would say the last thing is download the search term report. It's a gold mine of data, and that's where every person should focus. 95% of his PPC time should be on the search term report. Keywords is important, but keywords only represents the search term that the customer actually put in. Download the search term report, be organized so you could actually read the report in the naming and everything, and much more.
How important is product research in that search term report?
Yeah, so search term report.
Are you using the search term report for product research?
So I see. Yes, I see the Amazon page as a living document, meaning, you write up your title, bullet points, description, and then you don't then leave it on. Like said, okay, I wrote it, I posted it, it's live. It's like a living document. So after you download the search report once, twice, 3 times, you start seeing exactly what your customers are naming your product. And sometimes it's very funny and interesting how people name your product. You need to take that information and update your title, bullet points, and update maybe the back-end keywords. But basically, there's a ton of information of actual Amazon customers telling you what they think about your product, and that brings you back to the data. Everything needs to be on data-driven decisions.
And I remember years ago learning so much about a product that we didn't have because of the search terms that didn't convert. I can talk about it now. You can't do that product anymore. But it was a kitty backpack, and they had those with the leashes. By now, there's probably 1 million of them. At that point, there was a few. And we had a little backpack. It didn't have a toddler leash on it. And we got hundreds and hundreds of search terms and clicks on the word leash, toddler leash. So we knew, okay, we need a leash. Obviously, that was a very clear example, but you can dig in.
Yeah, a lot of times it's even color. Let's say you sell a red one. Everyone is searching black. Okay, I'm going to do a variation with black.
So search term report helping you develop products, customer reviews helping you develop products, search term report helping you update your listing.
And then reviews is also a gold mine of information. Like people telling you, first of all, how you can improve your products, new ideas. I say, I wish. Like you could do a search on the reviews, write in the word I wish. You'll see a ton of data of new ideas of your product that you could do just by doing I wish. And other types of searches like that. But you can also find how to rewrite your title bullet points just by reading the reviews. They might name your product totally different than you have ever thought about.
Okay,
And on that note, something that I just recently implemented was I have a virtual assistant who manually reviews all of my reviews overseas, and they're categorizing the reviews with top 10 complaints per product, the good thing, the pros, the cons, and it's a gold mine. Take every single review and
Analyze it.
pull it apart.
And
Absolutely.
especially focus on the negatives so you
Yeah.
can see what's wrong with your product right
Sure,
now.
absolutely.
And you can actually implement steps to make your product better as you go along and not just wait until you get a ton of returns and figure it out in the long run. But
And-
that's one step. And then you actually can comment on reviews. A lot of people, you know, the first question is, how can I get rid of a negative review? It's very hard to get rid of a negative product review. But if you go and comment on the review, the customer who left that review will get a notification. And I've had customers respond to us through that comment back and forth, and we actually took care of a lot of issues, and we got them to update their reviews after we sent them a replacement or we took care of the issue.
Yeah, another point, even if that customer doesn't respond, but the next customer goes over there and sees okay,
it.
this brand is a normal person, he made a mistake might happen, but I have with the person to work with if a mistake happens, and that's why it's extremely important to comment on it.
Every neutral and negative review needs a response.
2 questions. Number one, on that customer there, right? Amazon doesn't give us a lot of tools to communicate with the customer. I'm going to say both so I don't forget the second one. What do you guys do in order to stay close to the customer? Is it like adding, you got to follow the rules in terms of adding cards or what you're adding, what you're not adding to the box, to the packaging, in a way that brings your product close to the customer? That's the first question. The second question is, I forgot. Go ahead.
Well, packaging is obviously crucial to any product. You want to have that wow factor when a customer opens their box when they receive their shipment. So that's the first impression that you have on any customer, besides for the landing page. So you want to make sure your product packaging is not just some generic white box, brown box with the Amazon ASIN sticker stuck on the side of it. A lot of the big brands like Anchor, for example, they actually have the Amazon FNSQ as their barcode on the packaging, so it's not even noticeable. So that's the first step in any packaging. Obviously,
How does that help them to have the Amazon FNSQ on it?
they just optimized and streamlined their warehouse and the fulfillment center to make sure their products are going straight from the manufacturer, the factory, straight into Amazon FBA.
Regarding inserts, I think me and Ray agree on that. Like, stay within TOS. No trick, no black hat is worth losing your entire account for all the years you built. So yeah, you could.
So what's the big no-no? What can't
Whatever
you
Amazon says no is no.
Do not ask for a positive review. Don't ever ask for a positive review. In an email, in that insert, it's the number one no-no, obviously.
I have to say, people do say that I'm married to the Amazon TOS.
Me
That's
too.
kind of my reputation I've gotten. But I will say, general, if you have to ask the question, it's usually not allowed.
Yeah. And I would. Sorry.
So just focus on the packaging is what you're saying.
It's one of the focuses.
And I would add a note.
What
that-
about those cute letters and pictures?
Yeah.
Hi, it's our family picture. We're so glad to make this product for you. 3-year-olds work for us in the factory. No?
Some people go for it. Yeah, sure. Why not?
If you
But
know
make-
your target consumer and you believe that your product, let's say it's a children's product, and it's something that the mothers that purchase a product would appreciate it, then go along with that card, that insert. You have to know your category and your buyers.
And the price point. So more expensive products demand and need something like that. So yeah, if you want to increase the price, you got to increase that as well.
Got it. I have one last question, and then we'll take questions from the audience. I have 5 items on Amazon, right? It's a year. They're all kind of very iffy. You know, they're selling max 100 units a month. Do I double down and try to fix the listing and try to change things? or do I give up? It's been a year. Do I give up and I start sourcing new items?
The first question I would ask you is like the quantity which you have for those products, okay? If you have a, large quantity sitting in your warehouse or FBA, obviously you need to fix those. But if you don't have much quantity and you're not getting any attraction, so I would probably say that, just probably delete those or.
Kill the product.
Yes, kill the products.
And say I like the listing, right? It's okay listing. Would you say, Mordechai, that should I go and really revamp, spend top dollar on revamping, spend $1,500 a listing, at the most professional pictures on listing, and invest that in my product versus, going to invest into new products?
If you haven't done that in the beginning, then chances are when the sales rank starts climbing, it's a lot harder to get it down. At that point, it's probably easier to just kill off the product. If you want to reboot it under a new UPC code and go full force on that listing, you can try that. But generally, when a product is not doing well and you've put in as much as you're able to, just kill it off. And by me, we're always trying to add new products. If you see your product line, every product has a life cycle. Generally, I would say about a half a year to a year, you'll start seeing competitors creeping in there. I'm constantly adding new products. We're aiming for a minimum of 5 to 10 new products a month, and that way you mitigate the risks of relying on one of your products for too long.
Okay, this is weird. I have an emergency call. Let's take the first question. You guys can answer. I'll just take the call. Just come it up so they can hear it.
Pass on.
Can you guys talk about private labeling and white labeling products? And have you tried that and what has been your success? When you find that the competition is high and you private label it, or you create your own product line within that particular category?
You want to take this?
That's the number one question that everyone has. How are you successful with private label? So that's why everyone is here. And that's the question. Like, the answer is it's tough. The answer is how do you become successful private label? It's not easy. Finding the great niche, finding something unique, finding something that you could stand out of the crowd and not sell another silicone gloves. I don't know if the old guys remember the joke of silicone gloves, but basically.
Silicone spatula.
And then it was silicone spatulas. Yeah. So finding something that is not a 50 to 100 sellers from China coming in, selling directly the same product as you at half the price. Now, how do you find something unique? That's the $1 million question.
The question that I had was, do you private label to make it more unique?
Or
Do you do a white label and then try to make it your own? Even though the product is the same, but it's your own brand.
that's private label.
Correct.
Yeah.
So have you tried that? What has been the success?
Some products are successful, some products are not successful.
Which product is more successful?
The more unique you are.
If you add
Yeah.
value to your listing, to your package,
Yeah.
these days kits are one of the best ways to actually compete. You'll see an area that's saturated. There's 100 competitors selling that product. Try to come up with some kind of a value factor and add something to that product and enhance the package in order to get those customers. You can even target it at the same price point as your competition, add something in that costs you 50 cents, but you're giving a value proposition.
Yeah, and the higher barrier too. As easy as it is for you to bring the product in, as cheap as it is for you to bring it in. Remember, everyone else, it's the same barrier for entry as everybody else. So the higher barrier you can find, the regulation or some way that you can make yourself different, then that's the way to do it. But it's never been harder than now to build private label products.
You mentioned 18 out of 19 companies are not profitable. How do you make sure you're that one company or you're avoiding 18?
Again,
He asked, how do you make sure that you're not one of the 18 companies that were not profitable?
It's a great question.
Yeah. Being on top of your books, there's a vendor over here that I don't want to plug, but there's a vendor over here, one of the vendors that has a software that makes sure that you know exactly if you're profitable or not. Selling higher price point products is the answer, and just checking each and every cent that you spend anywhere should be scrutinized, making sure that the volume and the sales doesn't blend you, and you make sure that you're on top of each and every penny that you spend.
Sure.
And just to add on
Yeah,
to what
just
Yehuda
come
said,
over.
one of the most important things we found is try to minimize how many times your products are going to be in transport, meaning from the factory to your warehouse where you're going to package it, and then to FBA, you're going to get returns, it's going to come back to you. If you can get your manufacturer to ship the product directly to Amazon, and you'll pay an extra couple of cents to actually have them label it and wrap it for you according to Amazon's TOS, it's still worth it for you versus bringing it into your warehouse because you're going to be paying double freight. So that's something that's very important. It might sound like a couple of cents per product, but it adds up pretty quickly.
And I'm going to plug that company that Yehuda just mentioned. That's the company's called Connect Books. The reason why I'm plugging them, I have no vested interest in them. I haven't seen any other company in the industry pull together reporting and pull together profitability like they have. I've spoken to many accountants who have thought that they could crack the code. I'm not a numbers guy, so I can't explain to you exactly why it's so difficult, but when it comes down to the bottom line, profitability is extremely difficult to properly track on Amazon.
And something that they report, which a lot of companies don't, is the ad spend per product.
Yeah.
So they bring that into the report where you can actually see every cent you're spending on that product, not just, the Amazon FBA fees, pick and pack fees. You have your Amazon spend per product in there.
Come on up. That's a tough question because it all depends on the product, right?
Depends on the brand as well.
And are you getting brand recognition off of Amazon? And then what value does Amazon bring versus directing it to your own website, direct to consumer? So it all depends on, I guess, the category, right?
It depends on the category. It will depend on the life cycle of the product. If you're looking to launch a product, you want to get that boom. You could advertise off Amazon as well to drive the traffic.
That's a great
Again,
point.
just keep in mind your profitability. You're going to be spending a heck of a lot of money on it, and you just have to make sure that you're tracking it properly. The long term, it's a numbers game. If you can afford, if your margins are high enough and you're driving traffic and your reporting is the way it should be, you'll be able to see if it's profitable or not to drive traffic from off Amazon as well.
The great thing about advertising on Amazon is that you can track in real time, give or take 24 hours, what's going on and what kind of results you have, and then pivot accordingly, versus if you're spending money on Facebook, Google, it's a little hard to say. But like Ray says, very often when you launch a product on Amazon, it's not going to build any traction. And sometimes it's the smart thing to do is to push the traffic from out of Amazon.
First important part is that, building your brand on Amazon. Once you have done that, because you get, as a brand owner, you get a lot of privileges on Amazon. I am an advocate of building your brand outside Amazon, but that takes a lot of effort. People often get frustrated because they compare Google SEO, Facebook to Amazon spend. So whenever someone tries to build that, I tell them, if you are successfully selling on Amazon, right now you need to allocate some budget which you could start building your brand outside Amazon, and you should not wait. A lot of people, they get frustrated when they either get suspended or getting issues with their ad spend on Amazon, and then they try to build outside Amazon. So it takes a lot of time. So if you are in a long game, you need to take some of your budget, allocate that to build your brand outside Amazon. And it takes a lot of time, I can tell you.
Well said. So diversify off of Amazon. What's your question?
So you mentioned that
It was better before the mic.
Yeah, that was.
You mentioned that for your search term report is a living book, and you should be constantly mining for new keywords or how to optimize your listing. But what happens if you have a listing that's selling well, 100 a day or whatever you do? So what's your philosophy on optimizing? Do you leave it as is, or do you constantly look to try to make it better?
So there's no written rule from no one. Okay, yeah, so he wants to know if someone has a good selling product, do you change it or you don't want to change it because it's selling well? In the Amazon world, there's so many myths, and I'm not going to come here and bust it and say, yeah, go change it or don't change it, but everyone has their opinion. I'm not going to recommend you to change it, and then you're going to call me up, hey, tank the listing. There's so many myths out there. If someone has a better answer.
No, I couldn't say it better myself. There's no clear-cut rules. If you're generally happy with how your listing's doing, I would say don't touch it.
Right.
I mean, look
It's
at the
definitely
numbers.
safe. Cheval does, yeah.
Look at the numbers. I mean, generally speaking, if it's a well-ranked product and it's responding, it's converting well on search terms, you're not going to find, boom, a surprise search term that's
You're
going
not
to
going
change
to find
it
the
up.
keyword
Right.
that you were missing
Yeah.
that is going to help it boost it by that much more. It's not going to.
Who had a question? You did.
Just curious, I think one of the biggest challenges in Amazon, which was briefly discussed, is launching a new product. How do you compete against someone who has 500 reviews and you start out with 0? What would each member of this panel, if you could give one piece of advice, and hopefully it's not duplicates, to launch a new product, what would you say? And just to preempt, if you're going to say outside traffic, are you worried about conversion rate? In other words, if you kill your conversion rate, let's say you use Google Ads, and you have a bad conversion rate, because Google naturally will have a weaker conversion rate since someone searching on Google is not already married to Amazon. So, but my main question is, what's one piece of advice you would say for launching a new product?
Source the right product.
What?
It's before launching.
Don't source that product.
Source a product that you're confident can do well. Unless you have an unlimited budget, you want to make sure that you don't have you have competition that you can compete against.
I think you have to, if I can jump in, you have to also look at what type of product it is, right? So some products, if you're launching another, I don't know,
Silicone glove. That's the example we're using.
No, it was never the
was
silicone
that?
It was a
glove.
silicone
No, it was a
barbecue
spatula.
glove. Silicone barbecue glove.
I was going to say potato peeler, right? Well, technically, a potato peeler can go on and on and on for the next 10 years. So you got to look at the life cycle. And then if the product is going to last 10 years, I personally like saying 18 months turnover. Plan on 18 months. So how much budget and how much resource do you want to expend on?
Well,
on the
if there's
18
already
months?
40, 50 sellers selling the same product, you're going to come in and they have thousands of reviews. You're going to come in and sell the same product. You're not going to be successful. Yeah, if you have a big budget, then you could try to fight them out. But if you have the exact same product and you have already a well-established listing selling the same product without anything unique, like by combining, fixing a problem or anything, you're not going to be successful, in my humble opinion.
And I think one big thing that I think a lot of sellers are looking for is the secret sauce and how to be successful.
Yeah.
And there is none.
Yeah, sorry.
You can all go home.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
gurus,
Yeah.
so to be honest.
Go ahead.
Any thoughts on buying an existing FBA business or a small brand with, say, 5 to 10 SKUs and using that as a launching pad to grow?
Yeah. Yeah, I yesterday looked over, someone pitched to me a company that he wants to get my opinion. He said he had 9 SKUs, but I ran the numbers. In reality, he only had 4 SKUs. He was looking to get 2.5 times the sales of last year. In reality, what he has is inventory and 4 established listings, where I would pay a premium for that established listing.
Wait, are we talking
he's
about
not
the
selling you
listing?
anything.
We're talking about the seller feedback?
No, the seller reviews.
The whole package.
No, the reviews on the product.
Are we looking for products or are we looking for an account?
It's
Account with products.
with
It's
products.
running with products, right.
I would say inventory plus a premium. It's not a business where you pay 2.5% of last year's revenue because you have a customer base. In reality, he has a couple products that each and every product is going eventually to die down. So he has inventory with a premium for the business, but it, yeah.
So are you talking about the value of what the value to the, what you should pay to buy the business, or if it was worthwhile? Right.
More like 2.5 times profit, not revenue.
Right, but I think it seems like the question that you're asking is it worthwhile? Right, you're going to get yourself a jump start by having listings, and I think one of the big things that I find with listings are listings that the older the listings are that are and the successful listings are, the longer they're going to stick around for. So there definitely is significant value to to having listings that are older. So yeah, there is definitely value to having an older account with older listings.
As a jumping off point.
Right, right.
Yeah, obviously. you have to build
Right,
up.
but it's it's different than a normal business where everyone has a customer base and you're paying for 2.5. It's different.
It's a little bit of a help to answer the question, right? It's a little bit of a help, but it's not.
It is a
huge.
help.
If you're going to be investing in the long term and you're going to be adding, dozens of SKUs, let's say over the next 2 years, maybe you just start fresh. But if you're looking for that quick jump off, you want to add another product and then maybe another product, then it probably is worthwhile because these products are depreciating. These listings are going to die.
Yeah.
In amount of time.
If that account is a brand, is a name brand,
Yeah, that's different.
then that's different as well. You're going to be in a lot better position to build off of that because of the brand recognition and the traction you currently have on the marketplace.
Because then he's buying something outside of his Amazon listing.
Yeah.
Let's get another question.
All right, so there's a big risk involved with changing product titles in many cases. There's also a very big reward that I've seen. What are some best practices to change product titles, or at least A/B test with those changes?
So you're asking on a
I was going to say best practices for A/B testing product titles, keywords, not keyword stuff.
do you mean at what point of the life cycle of the product should you A/B test?
So, for example, I've seen listings that are doing many thousands of dollars a day, and nobody wants to touch the titles because it has a big impact on ranking. But if you do change the title, sometimes you find a little hidden trove of traffic that'll come in, increase sales by 5% pretty quickly. But you can also risk losing 5% of sales very quickly.
Which is what we just discussed,
Yeah.
right?
Me personal, I don't have any problem to change titles if it makes sense. Like, my opinion, when people write title, bullet points, description, they need to think about as a customer, not talk about stories about their grandmother, why he started the brand. No one is interested about that. Keep it short, keep it good, and exactly how customers write it. If you have a wrong title, it's stuffed or anything, I think the reward of writing it short to the point title is better than having fluff.
Good point. Should you keep bullet points 1 to 2 sentences or 4 to 6 sentences like we're seeing a lot
Short.
of?
I would do
Not-
like
not
this.
too
yeah.
short, but
I would do
in
like
between.
this. Next time you're actually buying a product, see what you're doing and do exactly the same when you write your next title.
Great point.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question. There we go.
A/B testing means Amazon gives you the option of having page A and page B. Where you see, and that's on the EBC. It's not on the top. The A/B testing is on the EBC. They give you 2 types of versions of the EBC where you could test, see how version A is going to do version B, and you could do whatever version A looks like or whatever version B looks like, and you could have a real-time, real-life data from real people telling you exactly. EBC. There's
actually an interesting software called PickFu that I've used a couple times.
and I
that-
wanted to plug it as well.
You can plug PickFu, PICFU.
P-I-C-K-F-U.
PICK.
He has the worst name, but he has the best idea.
It's
Yeah,
PickFu.
pick
F-U.
foo.
Big
And
Phil,
foo. F-U.
Like
F-U. He has the worst name, but yeah.
That's what he mentioned. Yeah.
Now I'm going to talk about data, as I've been always talking about having data decisions. Everyone has the question: how do I know if my product page is working or not? You have your opinion, and everyone has another opinion. PickFu is amazing software where you could upload your. It's like a way where you can upload your link, and they send out a poll to 50 people, and 50 people see your product page. After seeing their product page, they give you their idea what they see about their product page. You're going to find their questions that you never ever thought about. You're going to find their concerns that you never ever thought about, or ideas, or anything else, price point. They're going to say, I'm confused about the product. This is a great product. Pricing is too high. And if I could plug something, I have a great discount code. I spoke to him in person. I said, you have you have amazing software. I really believe in your software, and I would love to promote it. Anyone wants it, I have a good discount code.
So go over to Yahuda to get the
discount code.
PickFu
Do you also have a discount code?
No. I'm going to come to you for yours.
Very good. I really believe
It's
in
called
that
Pick
software.
FU.
pig, F you.
guy's
I told him he has
fuck.
the worst name. He told me F you comes from fast, like kung fu.
Like kung fu,
Kung fu,
exactly.
that's what he told me. I said, listen. But he did tell me it's reckonable.
Thank you very much. Keynote is starting in 5 minutes, so we have a 5-minute break. Thank you
in this
very
room.
much. Thank you guys. Yeah, right
Yeah,
here. Right
tell
here.
them it's in here.